speaking of that,
Yeah.
speaking of the asset that goes up, we have to talk about Apple. The rumors of its decline have been greatly overrated. Today, when the market was down, Apple hit a 52-week high.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is back on track, $283. So Apple quietly is having a stellar year again, and is quietly moving up the mountain.
Risk off.
Risk is
Risk
all.
off. And for the record, I never took it out of 2Tech. Red Panda, yes or no? See or no? Never took it out. I just said Tim Cook should be replaced.
They
And
said you were doing Apple wrong, but I never left them.
I never left. And then they reported that he's going to leave. And today, Apple's head of AI steps down. So two things can be true at the same time. If you listen, I can make you money. So, but the bigger theme for right now, I put this in Telegram for Stock Club before we started. Risk is off, and Microsoft, Apple, and Google are going to act like a safety haven, like a bond, because no one wants our American debt anymore. So the projected return for Apple over the next 4 years is supposed to be 25 to 33%. That would effectively replace the bond market. So the big money is going to flow to places where it can get a return and not have to worry about a 25 or 60% decline. And in markets like this, I think they're going to do a hell of a lot better. But do they still need to fix their AI strategy? For sure.
I think when we had this conversation, it was kind of one of those things. Remember, I was like, yeah, I think we're looking at this. Maybe they're looking at this a little bit differently than how we were seeing it, in the sense of like everybody's rushing out to say what the product is. And their thing was kind of, let's sit back and see what happens, and let's trust the regional approach that they said that they were going to take with going into India, trying to get China sales for the first time. They now passed their number one back in China. The iPhone 17 beat all their sale projections, and there seems to be an uptick for 2026. And then quietly, nobody was like talking about this. They're in talks to use Intel, which what we saw Intel rise 10%, and so that AI strategy should be interesting, right? Like you said, the head of AI stepped down, but if we watch how Google rolled out their approach to AI, I feel like something similar is happening here, right? Where it was GPU. We were like, what's Google going? What are they going to do when here comes TPU? Oh, okay, this is different. Like how we are going to maneuver in this environment now. I feel like Apple has been positioning themselves, still haven't acquired anything.
Yeah.
Right. iPhone is still the product that it is. Right. They have expanded in the regions that they once dominated in. They're back dominating, which is why we're seeing this. Right. But the Intel play tells me that, all right, there's something coming from this. Right. The government has been involved. The government's been involved, one, and now you have Apple in talks. There's something here that we have to do a deep dive into.
It's like an arranged marriage that Trump put together to get return back on it, to be very clear. And I'm not talking to the normies. I'm talking to the exceptional. I never said take Apple out. And Stock Club, yes or no?
And yeah, I don't know what happened to the stock ticker.
Next week.
Yeah.
Next week.
I see the comments. Disappointment. I'm not sure what happened to the stock ticker.
They're disappointed that we don't have it this week. Sir, listen, when you chef well to have a masterpiece like you guys had on Thursday, it takes time. Because if it looked ugly, then it would be like, oh, this is what y'all came up with. So
patience.
Combination.
But what I do know, like I said, 2Tech 2 Index, Apple has been a staple in Stock Club for the inception.
8 years.
And with that being said, shout out to everybody that took advantage of that Market Mondays, Black Friday sale, that bundle pack that we put together. It is officially sold out. You will be getting your information about Nvidia in the next week or so. But yeah, everybody that took advantage of that's lifetime access to Stock Club, lifetime access to EY University 2026 InvestFest VIP ticket, in-person mastermind in Washington, D.C., Capitol Hill tour in Capitol Hill, in the Capitol Hill. Meet with high-level politicians, the queen of AI, myself, Ian, Troy, in-person mastermind. and then the exclusive trip to Nvidia campus.
Yeah.
Talk with Nvidia executives, going over the latest product deliverings.
A few other surprises.
Oh yeah.
A few other surprises.
So that's major. So like I said, we'll be getting the information to you guys soon as far as that Nvidia situation and the in-person mastermind. But kudos to everybody that took advantage of that. You're one step closer to hitting that mark. Now, Cyber Monday, for anybody that was not able to take advantage of that Black Friday deal, maybe the price point was a little too steep for your pockets. It's difficult times right now. We are doing a Cyber Monday deal. 5-year access to EY University, 5-year access to Stock Club, 50% off of the price that was the Black Friday deal. So the Black Friday was for a certain demographic of people. But if you were not able to take advantage of the Black Friday deal, you can take advantage of the Cyber Monday offer. 5-year access to Stock Club, 5-year access to EYL University. MarketMondaysDeal.com. Market Mondays with an S. MarketMondaysDeal.com. 48 hours only. This will end by blackout on Wednesday. 48 hours only. First come, first serve. Stock Club, you get the prices, you get the weekly calls, you get the targets. EYL University, amongst other things, you get Troy's options class where he actually goes over his portfolio, talks about different trades. We got the app, we got the community, we got the real estate home buyers blueprint, volume 1, volume 2, monthly financial planning calls, regional groups, a lot going on. Let's just say that. MarketMondaysDeal.com if you want to take advantage of it. 48 hours only. Stock Club, EYL University, bundled together.
Yes. And for those of you asking, I'm not individually doing nothing now or Christmas or Rosh Hashanah. So no. No.
This is matcha.
We're not excluding anyone.
This is matcha, ladies and gentlemen.
So
it'll all make sense soon.
A Kwanzaa deal, nothing.
Nah. We covered all bases.
Let's get it. Let's talk about Elon Musk. He was asked recently, if what stocks he's into. And he was like, he doesn't really invest in stocks too much. I mean, it would make sense. Right?
I love this answer.
The richest person in the world. He was like, he just focused on building his companies. Then when his companies become public, then he owns a lot of stocks in that company, which is Tesla, which will soon be SpaceX, which will soon be, a variety of different companies that he has involvement with. But he said if he did, if he were looking at the landscape and he were to pick two stocks, he said it would be Google.
My baby.
He said Google's done a tremendous job as far as where they're going to be in the AI race. And then he said Nvidia is inevitable. Like you can't get around Nvidia. That's just like a no-brainer.
Yep.
So he spoke about Google and he spoke about Nvidia as far as like if he was to actually be in the stock world, those would be the two companies that he would have confidence in investing in. What are your thoughts on that?
It's the other side of wealth building that people don't talk about publicly, but I love that we have this show so we can. If you can build something that goes up 150,000% of return or 700,000%, it's better to put all of your tangible time into building an asset. There are certain people who are asset drivers and GDP drivers, regardless of political dispersion. He is one of them. So if I can build a SpaceX, Starlink, I think is the darling of the portfolio, probably best company there. Tesla, we already know, story tradition at PayPal Mafia. If I can build things that go up 15,000x, it's much better to build the thing and then get the value. If you can't do that, then you have to invest in, because I always say, if you're an entrepreneur, are you better than Tim Cook, Elon Musk? Now we got to throw Sam Altman, even though he's having some issues, right? Are you better than the top 10 CEOs? He's better than a lot of the top 10. Therefore, he should focus on wealth building by building a company. And even if you're not, you have to build a business in combination. Now, I've been telling this to podcasters. We'll talk about it Wednesday. A lot of streamers and podcasters are going out of business. A lot of rappers too. They wouldn't have, though. I've told 200 people the strategy, 4 executed. You have to invest in the media companies that you're uploading and using your services through. Most don't do it. And there's a tale of two media broadcasters, one that does and one that doesn't. There's too much saturation in some of these markets. So people are going out of business, but you have to build a business and then invest. It's the only blueprint. It's the only blueprint. And I love the honesty of the answer, because one of the things that most wealth builders don't tell you is how they build that rocket ship, no pun intended, to generate wealth for themselves, regardless of what the market is doing.
Yeah. I always tell people, listen, you got to study the movements, follow the money. Study the movements, follow the money. Yep. Last week when I talked about ginseng and him sitting down and having this conversation, to his right was Elon Musk. No surprise when Elon asked him what two companies are going to be prominent, it's going to be those two. We obviously know what Nvidia is going to mean to the economy. Well, we already know what it means now.
We know. Yep.
We can see where it is headed. We can see that Google has made an imprint here. But when you listen to Sundar speak, the CEO of Google, said something very interesting last week. And he was talking about power, right? XAI uses the GPUs. They're thinking about maybe they'll partner to use TPUs from Google. But that wasn't the thing that really caught my attention. It was, they weren't talking about data centers here on Earth. They're talking about putting data centers in space.
Elon or Sundar?
Sundar.
Yeah.
And so now when I'm listening to Google and I'm thinking to myself, they're going to do data centers in space because they can use the solar power. I'm like, oh man, this is different. When I'm thinking well, how will they get space exploration? That's not really a division that they've really focusing on. And then I'm starting to hear
partnership.
Right? You start putting these tea leaves together, right? Who has mastered space exploration? Who has that division? Who has a company? Well, isn't that what SpaceX is doing when we talk about the satellites that are already orbiting the Earth? We covered that in very great extent. And I'm like, oh, this is where they're going. And so start watching those tea leaves. When these CEOs start talking about each other and they're starting to praise each other, it's for a great reason. Partnerships are happening, whether we know about them or not. They're already looking toward the future. When I'm looking at, we're just trying to figure out how they're going to power the data centers here on Earth, right? Like we've talked about Meta in Louisiana. We've talked about all these data centers in the Midwest. We've talked about the fabs that TSM has put in Arizona. Now they're thinking hey, we got this covered. Where's the next space? And that's going to be orbiting the planet. So interesting that he says those two companies.
And then somebody said, well, which because Ian said for content creators to invest in the companies that they upload content to. And then somebody in chat said, which would be with a question mark. So Google, because Google owns YouTube. Meta, because Meta owns Instagram and Facebook.
Yes, and Apple created the iPod. It literally created podcasting from the term iPod.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just hidden in plain sight.
Yeah.
Invest in those three.
I mean, they're solid. This has always been the Google case, which is why we have to have Google in the portfolio. Since I remember we had these these in-depth conversations. And I'm like, yeah, it's got to be. You got YouTube is, yes, it leads it, but they still have the cloud business, and now you can see what they've done it with inside the AI bit, and they're not done. They're not done. They're just getting started. The partnerships are going to start increase, which is why we said hey, TPU, GPU, IO, it don't matter. They're going to
Google and five. Google and five. Yeah.
IOU, it don't matter. XPU, it don't matter, right? It's going to need power, and the other thing that it's going to need is storage. So that's why we always talk about memory, because it still needs the brains to the operations, which is going to store all that data.
And it also speaks to the importance of investing in ETFs. So, I mean, Google as an individual stock, but invest with Invesco, QQQ. We talked about that. Put a tweet out last week where it's $10,000 in Nvidia. If you would have invested $10,000 in Nvidia 10 years ago, right now it'd be worth $10 million, $10.3 million. So the first thing that people will say was well, who knew Nvidia 10 years ago was going to be what it is now? But okay. With that said, if you would have put $10,000 in QQQ 10 years ago, it'd be $43,000.
That's a good.
Now, if you put $10,000 in XLY 10 years ago, it'd be $31,000. If you put $10,000 in SPY, it'll be $28,000. So even with quote unquote safe investments, over the last 10 years, you would have quadrupled, tripled, or at the very least doubled your money by investing in. So yeah, I mean the individual, but if you don't think that technology is going to continue to move the economy forward,
where have you been?
You're out of your mind.
The only thing that's moving the economy forward.
Yeah, where have you been?
And 94% of those are flat or slightly underwater. If you look at inflation, another thing you have to look at is net margin. Google, Microsoft, Apple, Meta all have amazing margins. So, and I saw the comment earlier where the brother said you have to be a nerd to want to tune in. No, they trick us to thinking that you need to be a nerd to know how money moves when we move the market for a bunch of companies.
You don't have to be a nerd. You just have to want to hear elevated conversations, quarter zips and matcha.
Why wouldn't you?
I too used to debate rap for endless hours on end.
It doesn't matter.
But at some point in time, I realized that I needed to make money to support myself and my family.
Because Kaiser and all them put their money right into it. Even the music conversations, all those benefit Spotify, Apple, and the social media platforms Meta. Those are tech businesses, but they're not valuated like tech businesses, so they can rob the artists and inflate the value of the tech companies.
But I feel like they are, though. I mean,
they are. They're just not valuing them as such.
Right. Because all of them have the tech component, which is when we talk about valuation, and we had this conversation in private, but like that valuation, I'm like, well, what are the ingredients? Like, what are the things to get the highest multiple? And everybody that we talked to is like, what's the tech component that you have in the business? Right? Do you have an app? Do you have, what's the user base? What's the retention? Like all those numbers come into
matter so much.
And we just think like, hey, we're going to use the app. We're going to listen to music. No,
average watch time. You think Future doesn't have a longer watch time than 15th best AI company? Well, I would debate that. But they value it as a certain thing. Same thing with the classification of stocks. Everyone doesn't get tech classification. Some go into communications, some go in consumer discretionary because it lowers what the valuation could be.
Yeah, that's what you said. When we think Google, we're thinking, oh, that's a tech stock, right? But if you look at Spider's Fund, it's not inside of XLK.
Yep.
Amazon's not inside of XLK.
It's crazy.
Right? Like Meta's not inside of there.